Junior safety Greg Davis recovered a fumble in front of the Irish bench after a Stanford pass completion to end the next threat. And even though Notre Dame came up empty on a fourth down play from the Stanford 5, the field position paid dividends. The Irish came right back to advance 38 yards to the Cardinal 2, where Craig Henfrick converted a 20-yard field goal for a 24-14 edge. In between late field goals by each team, Pat Terrell intercepted a pair of passes to keep Stanford at bay. His second pickoff with a minute left marked the last of Smith's 68 throws, most ever by Stanford and the most against Notre Dame. Smith's 39 completions also were the most ever allowed by the Irish, but they weren't enough to keep Notre Dame's winning streak and #1 ranking from remaining intact. A week later in Colorado Springs, Notre Dame played its 5th road game of a season that wasn't even half over. It was billed as the Battle of the Unbeatens, top-ranked Notre Dame against 6-0 and 17th-ranked Air Force. It was billed as a battle of Heisman Trophy candidate quarterbacks, with Dee Dowis and Tony Rice matching offensive wits. It was billed as a battle between an Irish defense permitting 93 rushing yards a game and a Falcon offense leading the nation at 449 rushing yards per contest. And the largest crowd in Falcon Stadium history turned out to see it. If only Notre Dame's defenders had known how it would turn out.
Well, coming into the week, we knew what to expect from Air Force. They run the wishbone, and they run it well. They're very disciplined. Dee Dowis executes great. Their rushing game had really been proven, and we wanted to come in, and we felt we could shut them down. The first half we did that, and the second half things changed a little bit.
In the second half, they came out passing a little bit more than running. They hit the open zones in our defenses, and they scored a couple of times, but we made changes to compensate for that. If you would have told us before the game that Dee Dowis was going to pass for 300 yards, we wouldn't have believed it.
Quickly establishing its dominance in the trenches, Notre Dame needed 5 minutes and 10 plays to negotiate 80 yards for its first score. A Tony Rice to Derek Brown pass for 24 yards and a Ricky Waters run for 25 did most of the damage. .54 yards compared to 0 and 11 for Air Force. When Raghib Ismail ran a punt back 56 yards one play into the second period, the Irish had a lead they would never lose.
Here's the punt. End over ender. The Rockets going to take it at the 45. Onto the 50, 45, 40, look out. 35, 30, 25, look out, 20. Man to beat 10, 5, all the way. Touchdown.
But Notre Dame's big lead created a philosophy change by the home team that caught everyone off guard. While the Irish kept the Falcon attack in tow, Dowis made sure the Air Force offense lived up to its name. First, he found Greg Johnson on a 61-yard scoring play. After Rice located Anthony Johnson for 27 yards and 7 more points for the Irish, Dowis bounced back with a 26-yard throw to Steve Senn to make it 28-14. But a Dowis fumble with less than 3 minutes in the half set up the Irish on the Falcon 35. On the 5th play, Ismail skirted the left end for an easy 24-yard scoring romp. Air Force moved into Notre Dame territory on each of its first 3 second-half possessions, only to lose the football on all 3 occasions. First, the Falcons came up empty on a 4th down play from the Irish 44. Next, sophomore defensive end Devon McDonald latched onto a Dowis fumble at the Irish 39. Finally, Todd Light intercepted a 4th down Dowis pass in the end zone as the Falcons came away with no points after having 1st and goal at the 7. In the meantime, Tony Rice served as the architect of a pair of 50-yard drives that led to Craig Hentrick field goals. And that proved to be enough of a margin to withstand 2 fourth-period scores by Air Force, the first rushing touchdowns permitted by Notre Dame this season. Behind Ismail's 180 all-purpose yards, Rice's 193 total offense yards, plus 96 rushing yards from Waters, the Irish nearly doubled the 168 rushing yards managed by Air Force. At 6-0 after its 41-27 win, Notre Dame could finally leave its traveling bags in the closet for a while. The Fighting Irish returned home for a month-long stay, and Lou Holtz and the Notre Dame players weren't the only ones preparing for 4 straight home games. Ninth-ranked USC did everything it could to try to spoil the Notre Dame homecoming. But just when the #1 ranking, the 18-game overall winning streak, and the 3-year perfect record in Notre Dame Stadium appeared to be headed down the drain, the Irish got just what they needed from reliable quarterback Tony Rice.
You know, we knew it was going to be a really tough game. You know, it seemed like a lot of teams that was in Chicago just loved to play them, and that was one of those teams that we've been playing for a long time. Plus, it was my 3rd year playing against them also, and I just want to go out in style and just go out there and perform and try to play to my ability. And just by looking at the game situation, it seemed like we was down for a while in the first half, but the second half, we knew exactly what we have to do and just go out there and have a good time doing it and want to make things happen and get the ball into the end zone.
The Sporting News ranked it as the most exciting college football game of the year. It surely ranked as one of the more impressive Irish comebacks in memory. But it started quite uncharacteristically, with ace returner Raghib Ismail fumbling the opening kickoff. From there, USC's Todd Marinovich needed 8 plays to get into the end zone, throwing to Larry Wallace for 12 yards and 6 points. That would be just the first of what seemed like dozens of changes in momentum. What Ismail gave away to open the game, he got right back, returning the ensuing kickoff 58 yards to the USC 38. From there, Tony Rice needed 7 plays to get into the end zone, dragging Trojan safety Cleveland Coulter there himself.
Rod West in at a tight end spot now on the left side. So double tandem, I tandem, handoff to Anthony Johnson. No, Rice has got it. Down to the 5, down to the goal line. Touchdown! What a great fake by Tony Rice.
The Irish held USC on its next possession, but 20-mile-per-hour winds made fielding punts a dangerous game, as Ismail found out deep in his own territory. This time, Marinovich required only 2 plays, hitting John Jackson for one of his 14 receptions that totaled 200 yards. Pat Terrell personally halted another Trojan charge, and Juan Francisco did the same midway through the second period. But only strong defensive plays by Stan Smagala and junior tackle Bob Dahl enabled Notre Dame's defense to hang tough inside its 20 and force a USC field goal that made it 17-7 at intermission. Notre Dame rebounded immediately to start the third period. Taking over at midfield after a USC punt, the Irish got a key gain by Rice on 4th and 3 from the Trojan 33. 2 plays later, Waters took a pitch for 6 to cut the deficit to 17-14. The Irish turned the ball over twice more in the third period, with a lost fumble starting USC at the Notre Dame 20. Marinovich worked his way to 1st and goal at the 7, but on 3rd down, Todd Light intercepted in the end zone and started the Irish on their way. Culminating an impressive 80-yard drive was a 35-yard scamper by Anthony Johnson.
Johnson, the fullback. Here is Anthony Johnson in the open. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Anthony Johnson. On a quick opener, Anthony Johnson off the right side, 35 yards for a touchdown.
but the lead was short-lived. A fifth Irish mistake. This one, a fumble at their own 34, put the Trojans in business again. Marinovich needed just 4 plays to put USC back on top 24-21 with 9 minutes left in the game. But Notre Dame wasn't done yet. Battling to his own 45, Rice completed possibly the biggest pass of Notre Dame's season. A 40-yarder to Ismail, who caught it in stride and took it to the 15. The very next play, Rice optioned to the left side for what proved to be the game-winning point.
Tony Rice runs the option left. Rice looking to cut in, down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's at the end zone. Touchdown, Irish! 15-yard run by Tony Rice. Notre Dame goes 80 yards in 8 plays and leads 27-24.
Marinovich, who finished with a USC record 33 completions and 55 attempts for 333 yards, took one last shot. But 3 straight pass plays into the end zone from the Notre Dame 7 were rejected by the defense, and the win streak remained intact. In another bend but never break performance, the Irish did what was necessary to win. In the meantime, they managed 266 crucial rushing yards, 197 of them after halftime, against a Trojan defense that ranked first nationally in rushing defense, while giving up just 36 yards per game. In a series that has seen more than its share of classic confrontations, there was another one to add to the list. Emotionally or physically, after that win over USC, they were dead wrong. Playing perhaps their most impressive all-around game of the season against a team that had given the Irish fits in recent years, they completely dominated a Pittsburgh team that came off an open date unbeaten in 6 games and ranked 7th nationally.
Going into the Pittsburgh game, it was kind of a different game for me because my brother played at Pittsburgh and I'm from the Pittsburgh area, so I knew a lot of the players. It wasn't really hard for me to get up for the game at all, and we knew going into the game that we hadn't played very well against them in the previous years defensively, and that, you know, even coming into this game, they were even better offensively than they had been in the past. So there's no doubt that we came into this game with something to prove.
But it was Pittsburgh that did the proving to open the ball game. Taking the opening kickoff and marching 68 yards, redshirt freshman quarterback Alex Van Pelt capped off the drive with an 8-yard pass to Ronald Redmond for an early 7-0 advantage. Then it was all Notre Dame from there. The Irish played field position with a punt, pushing the Panthers back to their own 7. 3 plays later, Van Pelt went to the turf in the end zone for a safety. Backed up on their 4 the next time, the Panthers punted it out to their 36. Notre Dame needed only 7 running plays to punch it back in. Rodney Culver notched the touchdown, and Tony Rice added a 2-point conversion. The Irish defense provided the next big play, with Pat Terrell grabbing a Van Pelt pass and bringing it back 54 yards through the entire Pittsburgh team. The statistics were nearly even at halftime, but Notre Dame flat out dominated the second half on both ends of the field. The Irish converted 3 Pitt turnovers into touchdowns after the intermission, en route to what turned out to be an easy victory. First, Scott Kolakowski stripped Van Pelt, and Notre Dame converted twice on 4th down. Culver from the 9 and Waters from the 1. After Van Pelt misfired on 4th down from the Notre Dame 39, the Irish got a 50-yard sprint from Ismail on the second play.
Pro set, handoff to Rocket, 50.
When Dewan Francisco intercepted and returned 41 yards late in the 3rd period, the Irish required but 6 plays to make it 38-7. A final interception, this one by Jim Thorpe Award finalist Todd Light, set up a final back-breaking 80-yard drive by the Notre Dame reserves. Thanks to Don Grimm's 17 tackles, plus 10 from junior defensive end Andre Jones, Notre Dame limited Pitt to 117 rushing yards while gaining 310 themselves against a Panther defense that had been permitting 92 yards per game. It marked a record-tying 8th straight win against teams in the top 20, and it marked the worst Pittsburgh defeat in 18 years. Lou Holtz era, 10 times. Since 1983. 1989 victory over SMU won't soon be forgotten by the Fighting Irish players who played a part in it. For one, the game marked Notre Dame's 22nd straight win, breaking the all-time Irish record established by Frank Leahy's teams from 1946 through 48. Maybe just as impressively, it marked the last home appearance for Notre Dame seniors. It enabled them to finish a 3rd straight season without losing at home, while the 88th consecutive sellout crowd of more than 59,000 fans looked on.
I think coming out of the tunnel was a big deal to all us seniors. I mean, it was a special moment for all of us, not only it being our last home game, but it'd be the last time we'd be together as a team. And I think we're a part of something really special, and winning one national championship and coming one game away from winning another one. And it was just a great feeling to be a part of it.
You don't ever really forget the first time you came out of the tunnel, and being at the last time, especially with the 5th-year seniors and the other seniors on the team, and coming out of there and really feeling the unity of your classmates and the alumni that come back, and knowing people are watching it on TV. It's a real dynamic atmosphere, and it's full of spirit. It's something I'll always remember.
Once the Irish got going, they left no doubt what the final verdict would be. Tying an all-time Notre Dame record with 35 points in the second period, they scored in nearly every conceivable fashion. Included in the 59-6 win was a safety when SMU's punter stepped out of the end zone, and a 2-point conversion when Andre Jones ran back an SMU point after attempt that was blocked by freshman linebacker Nick Smith. Though the final score wasn't close, it was an afternoon of memories for the 28 seniors in uniform for the final time in their home stadium. While veterans like Anthony Johnson were more than used to crossing the goal line, it was a whole new experience for seniors Pete Graham and Rod West, who scored their first career touchdowns against the Mustangs. The Irish utilized 92 players in all, with an interception by senior walk-on Doug DiOrio in the final minute, capping off a day to remember for him and his fellow seniors. Seniors Brian Flannery and DeJuan Francisco contributed earlier interceptions, while the defense shut off the SMU running game, limiting the visitors to -7 rushing yards. The record-setting home finale featured an all-time longest punt return of 97 yards by Ricky Waters. And that helped pave the way for a special moment for Lou Holtz and his captains in the post-game locker room, as the Irish enjoyed a brief celebration of their history-making 22nd consecutive victory.
On behalf of your players and your coaching staff, we'd like to honor Coach Holtz for going down in the history as in the history of Notre Dame as probably one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of the modern era. This is just a milestone in a winning streak that's going to continue for many more years, Coach. So I'd like to give you
Traveled to frigid Beaver Stadium in search of a victory over Penn.